Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto. Today I'm here with my co-host, my uncle, Andrew Barreto. It's a special day, special episode, because my co-host is turning the big 5-0. It's
Oh,
his big 50th, so everyone wish him a happy
oh,
birthday.
thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it sucks getting old, but yeah, 50 years old today. I appreciate that.
Yes, but into today's episode, we're covering NFL news. A lot of extensions, big trade surrounding a guy who made a trade request last week that we talked about. Um, Niners, they got someone huge back. In the not MLB, in the NBA, we have the rest of the playing games. We have the playoffs, round one that have started. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the defensive player of the year. We'll talk about the clutch player of the year. Some guys becoming eligible to win MVP. We'll get into that. In the MLB, is our weekly standings update. Some injury news towards starting pitchers coming back. Potential closer winning the Cy Young. We'll bring up that argument. And end this off, Cubs Craig Counsell is doesn't like a rule that the MLB has for Shohei Ohtani, but we'll get into that later. Starting us off, Texans. We talked about it earlier, and I'm positive, pretty sure we talked about it earlier in the year. They gave a 1-year, $50 million extension to Danielle Hunter, right? Gave him big money. Obviously, defense was it's like a coin flip between them and the Seahawks last season. Who was the best defense, right? So they gave him extension. Now they gave Will Anderson, the first round pick from a few years ago, a 3-year, $150 million extension. I mean, it makes him the highest paid non-quarterback ever. I mean, it's unreal. 134 million guaranteed, and futures a no trade clause. It comes after his first career first team All Pro. He posted a career high 12 sacks, 3 fumbles, 54 tackles, 20 TFLs, 23 QB hits. I mean, he was just. Oh, I lied about Hunter. Hunter's was a 1-year, $40 million deal. But yeah,
Still a
Will
lot.
Anderson. Will Anderson. I mean, he was phenomenal. Like I said, those 2 edge rushers. I mean, if I was an opposing quarterback, I would be under. Even as soon as the ball would be snapped, I'd be under pressure. Big money. Like I said, highest non-paid quarterback ever. Do I necessarily agree with it? I don't know. But big money, and I think it's well earned. He since coming into the league, I think he struggled a little bit rookie year, but since then he's really ramped it up. And like I said, this past year, best year. And it's only looking up for him. He's still young, right? And he gets the well deserved extension.
Yeah, only 24 years old. Looks like they're locking him up. Big money, of course, and that's all we see nowadays in the NFL is just big money being thrown around everywhere. Yeah, that was the strong point of the strong part of the Houston Texans was their defense. Like you said, top 2, top 3 defense last year, and obviously to lock these guys up, looking to build, and hopefully just keep everybody happy. That way they can move forward and just to get better from the year before, and having that young defensive player locked up is a good start.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, he's the highest non-paid quarterback. It's tough. I think quarterbacks are obviously the most important position on the field. Obviously, at the end, defenses are a huge part of the game as well. We saw the past Super Bowl, the Seahawks defense shut down the Patriots. However, Will Anderson, like I said, he's great. He's been great. He's still young. But I just don't know if he deserved to be the highest non-paid quarterback, especially when there's guys like Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, who once were the highest paid non-quarterbacks. Um, but yeah, it's tough. But he, like I said, great, deserves the money. Great for him. I just think the Texans kind of got to be smarter with how much money they're spending on certain guys. I believe him and Hunter are taking up 20 to 30% of their cap. So, I'm not a GM, so I don't know, but that just seems like a lot of money between 2 guys. And I know they're huge. They're huge. They're a big part of that defense, like I said. But that's big money.
Yeah,
But
some of these guys, those contracts, you see them, they're really big, but it's like I'm not writing the checks there, and there's always ways to get out of the this contract agreement, or maybe they just totally eat it like the Raiders have, so much contract money, that players are not even on the team anymore and they go a different direction. But Will Anderson's agent, Nicole Lynn, because I was just about to say he must have a pretty good agent. Nicole Lynn, she's from Clutch Sports Group. So yeah, she did her job here. She got her client paid. She got paid. They're all happy now. It's up to him to perform.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah, Clutch Sports, very one of probably, if not the most popular agency groups out there. But moving on, Bengals. Bengals. A lot of there's always talk about the Bengals, right? They had the Trey Hendrickson thing the past like year and a half. They lose him in free agency. They had the Shamar Stewart incident where they didn't want to pay their first round rookie. So a lot of news around the Bengals. But they like I said, they let Trey Hendrickson walk. Um, they go out, they trade for defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence. They give up the number 10 overall pick, and they give him a 1 year, $28 million extension. That's what he asked for. He wanted an extension, plus he wanted to be traded. So Dexter Lawrence is going to be happy this year. And the Bengals they add a really good interior defensive lineman. I know this past year was a down year, but for a team that defense has let them down many times before, I mean, anyone they add is an upgrade. So big news for the Bengals. I heard a lot of people complain like, oh, they could have just drafted someone at pick 10. But no one is guaranteed in the NFL. You've seen it time and time again. They could be so good in college, and they get in the NFL, and they could be the worst player ever. So I think it's a good move. He's a proven All-Pro defensive tackle. He was available. You go out there, you get him. You bolster your defense, and that's something that the Bengals have been needing to do for some time.
Yeah, and I think we talked about. I recognize his stats. So yeah, we did talk about him before. I think, and that half a sack, and I think I questioned: is that real? Is that right for this guy who's demanding contract extensions and big money? I mean, he should be in the double digits of sacks, and maybe that's what ends up happening this new year with the new scenery. So he got his wish, and sometimes some of these players they put up a big stink and end up getting what they want. But yeah, I agree that the Bengals seem to always be a little bit weaker on the defensive side, and here we go. Let's see what they put together.
Yeah, hopefully, healthy Joe Burrow year and get themselves back in the playoffs and competing for the Super Bowl. But moving on, we've talked about this a couple times before. Trent Williams and the Niners, right? At one point, looked like two were never going to be a make a deal. They end up coming together. They signed a 2 year, $50 million deal. The 38-year-old, 37, 38-year-old. I can't.
37.
Either way, still old. The 37-year-old star left tackle, he's getting $50 million over 2 years. 37 of it is guaranteed, and $22 million in signing bonus. It's most obviously his last contract. Big for the Niners, but dude, once again, big money with the team like the Niners. I know you don't want to lose your star left tackle, but a team like the Niners who deal with so many injuries, a lot of guys are aging. They already have a lot of big contracts. They still haven't dealt with Brandon Ayuk. I mean, like I said, Trent Williams is probably Hall of Fame left tackle. So obviously you want to keep him, but it's a lot of money for a 37-year-old who last season he was dealing with some injuries, and so I mean you're obviously hoping for the best, right? You're hoping he's healthy, playing at his best like he usually does. But yeah, the soon to be 38-year-old, I mean, it's a risky contract. If it pays off, it pays off. That's true. But I just think that's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, Niners, like I've said it before, I think the Niners window to win the Super Bowl, it's closing fast, and this is kind of like one of those last moves to like if they got one last shot, they want the best shot possible. So I think it's good.
Yeah.
Trent Williams, like I said, he's a Hall of Famer, deserves the money.
Yeah, and like you said, their window could be closing, and they want to just kind of build on this. I know they had a lot of injuries last year, but they were still pretty competitive, and they just want to build. Trent Williams is a big part of that, and I know Brock Purdy's probably sleeping a lot better since they signed that new contract. But he's older. Injuries, he's had injuries, and that's pretty much like you said, the risk. That's the gamble. Is hey, we're going to pay this guy. We have a lot of belief in him, and hopefully that gamble pays off for them and results in a playoff push, and hopefully get better than what they were last year. So I like it. I just you have a veteran, like you said, Hall of Famer, left tackle. Pay him this money. The window potentially could be closing, and then see where it goes from there. And you could always just reevaluate things after 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, most definitely. But moving on to our next extension, it's going to the Cowboys. Brandon Aubrey. They gave him the tender of about like $5.5 million. They signed a record-setting 4 years, $28 million a year. So $7 million a year. 20 of it is guaranteed, and for the kicker, it's a lot of money. But you know Jerry Jones, he's done crazier things than sign a kicker for the highest paid contract. I mean, Aubrey's 31. We know how great he is. He has 6 career field goals of 60 yards or longer. He's become a weapon for Dallas. He was an All-Pro in his debut season, and he's been a Pro Bowl in all 3 of his seasons. I mean, he's made almost 90% of his field goals and 97% of his extra points. I mean, it's tough. He's that good. I mean, you get across half field and you're basically in field goal range. So I mean, it's a luxury to have a great kicker like Aubrey, the once former soccer player. Like I said, Jerry Jones has done crazier things. Am I surprised he paid his kicker? No. I mean, Jerry's got money to spend. He's gonna spend it. He's shown that he's just trying to keep the Cowboys competitive. He wants to keep arguably the best kicker on his team, and so he went out and did what he thought was necessary.
Yeah, he's one of the highest point guys on his team, right? Like I don't have the stats in front of me, but he's probably scoring the most on his team. Oh, they had a good offense though last year, right? They were putting up points. They did. But yeah, I mean, once you have this solid kicker, you just it's another one of those cases of, hey, let's not let him go. This guy's pretty money from, like you said, more than half the field, so he can let's lock him in and move on and get ready for the draft.
Yeah, most definitely. They don't want to worry about drafting a kicker like the Niners had to in previous years. Yeah. But moving on to the Colts, they are, they're fielding trade calls for both cornerback Kenny Moore II, and Anthony Richardson. At the time, nothing has come from Richardson. Kenny Moore, standout corner. Obviously, he will probably field some calls. He's been a solid corner in the league for some time. More news for the Colts. Daniel Jones ready to throw the football 6 months after his Achilles surgery, so that's good news for them. They want him ready opening day. But yeah, Colts, look like they were gonna win that AFC South. Injuries derailed them. They ended up not making playoffs. But hopefully in a healthy year, they get some trade assets or they get some, draft capital. Maybe this episode comes out Wednesday, so the draft's technically tomorrow. So maybe they, trade some of the guys, tomorrow night and then get some more draft capital, draft some younger players. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes for them. I just don't think teams are gonna be trading for Anthony Richardson. I mean, maybe the Jets might, but they have a high pick. They're most likely going to draft someone in the draft. So I don't know. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to go anywhere. It's been an unfortunate situation. He had his chance, got injured, and then just hasn't played well in the opportunities he's gotten. So it's an unlucky break for Anthony Richardson.
And again, the Colts are going all in with Daniel Jones. I know he was having that MVP type year last year, and then like you said, injuries derailed their season, and so yeah, they're just going with Daniel Jones once he's feeling better and ready to go for the year. And Anthony Richardson, the market there, for backup quarterback, maybe somebody ends up, I don't know what would be something to trade, like a third rounder, fourth round, I'm not sure, but that's just how it is in the NFL. You get drafted. So when did he get drafted? 2023. And that's your opportunity. You get this one opportunity, and you don't make the most out of it, then yeah, you end up getting a veteran quarterback in here who outplays you and takes your job. And I mean, injuries are part of it too. You can't stay healthy, then they got to get somebody who's going to be healthy and play the ball, play the game. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like I said, I mean, unless the Jets, I've seen the Jets sign Justin Fields, so maybe they would trade for him. But maybe the Cardinals, I just don't see a team wanting to trade for him unless they get him for like a 7th round pick, which is probably what his value is. But just like I said, unlucky break for Richardson, just hasn't performed, and that's the NFL's the business. Everyone wants to win, so he's just trying to get a fresh start. Just don't know if he'll get it anytime soon. But I'm moving on to our final news in the NFL. Ravens defensive tackle Nnamdi Madubuike He suffered a neck injury in week 2 last year, ended the season, and also put his future up in jeopardy. However, he had neck surgery last week, and it's looking like he might be able to continue playing in 2026. He had 2 Pro Bowl seasons in 23 and 24. He generated about 20 sacks and 50 quarterback hits, and then he signed a 4-year, $98 million extension in 2024. I mean, when he was healthy, he's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the game. And with the addition of Trey Hendrickson and Matabiki on the inside, the Ravens defense could once again be top 10 again, like it once was a few years ago. So we'll see. Like I said, he just underwent surgery. This is great news for the Ravens prior to the draft. If he's going to be healthy, they don't need to really focus on the defensive tackle position. But it's gonna Ravens. I mean, like I said, he's a back-to-back Pro Bowl. He was phenomenal when he did play. If they get this guy back this year, that defense is going to be great once again. So it's going to be scary times for the Ravens if Matabike comes back healthy.
It always seems like when we're talking about the Ravens, it's about defense, and they, as long as I can remember, they've always had a pretty good defense, and just having someone like that back, they probably still draft some defensive players anyways, to put them in the mix with their other crew. But I expect the Ravens, even with their new coaching staff that they have, and just to be competitive and just to have one of the top-notch defenses in the league.
Yeah, for sure. Jason Minter, defensive-minded head coach, is definitely going to be drafting defense. Although realistically, they should focus on their offense, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But to end us off in the football world, we have the draft. The draft is tomorrow when you see this episode. I don't, for me, it's hard during draft time because I don't watch college football unless it's the college football playoffs. Games from it. I feel like every game I watch is just the blowout. So it's hard for me to watch college football. So I don't do all the mock drafts, and I can't tell you who's gonna go where. But I can tell you that Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 to the Raiders.
Sure. Raiders have done some stuff
who knows?
Too, it'll shock. Knows? So I would
yes. But yes, the draft is tomorrow. Everyone's excited. We'll probably most likely see some trades. Just the first round, but still the biggest round of every draft. And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. I just can't wait to see Fernando Mendoza and a Raiders uni, and I'll be happy.
I heard Fernando Mendoza say that if you're drafted by they asked him if you're drafted by the Raiders, how do you feel? And he's kind of like, I would love to play for Tom Brady. And that just had me going like who Tom Brady? What's the percentage of this team he owns? He's not playing for Tom Brady. He's playing for that's not sweetening the deal. This percentage that he owns. How much voice does he have in that organization?
Dude, when you're a 7-time Super Bowl champion and you went to an organization that hasn't won for quite some time, you best believe he's got a lot of voice. A lot of voice for the small 3% that he owns.
Especially Mark Davis, he's over here like, what do you think, Tom? What do you think? For Mendoza? Yeah. So we'll see. I think that's definitely the pick. Raiders have done weirder stuff in the past, but I think this is kind of like we've talked about it. Their quarterback situation, although better now with Kirk Cousins. They need to go this quarterback route either for now or for moving forward in the future.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see where everyone lands. The draft's gonna be exciting. But moving on to the NBA. A lot has happened within the past since our last episode.
Yeah.
We had both playing games. Round 1 has started. So we'll kind of give a little bit of a recap. In the first play-in, Suns beat the Trailblazers. They took the 7th seed. Hornets beat the Heat. Bam got injured. A lot of controversy about LaMelo Ball. He didn't get suspended. Hornets moved on. Heat eliminated. 76ers beat the Magic. They were the 7th seed. They go on to play Boston in round 1. Magic would then end up destroying the Hornets, and they moved on to the 8th seed to play the Pistons. Warriors, Steph Curry was phenomenal in their game against the Clippers. They came on top, but they fell short of to the Suns, and they ended up being eliminated, and the Suns are playing the Thunder in the first round. Steve Kerr's future with the Warriors is in jeopardy. We don't know if he's going to be back. Doesn't look like he's coming back, but we'll talk about that more when news comes out. However, round 1 of the playoffs. Start off in Cleveland. Cleveland versus the Raptors, and the Beard and Spider have been dominating. They take game one, 126 to 113. And they also took game two as well, 115 to 105. So Cleveland, they take their home court and they go up 2-0 on the Raptors. And in the series, I thought would go to 6 games, still possibly can, but it's not looking like it. And this might be a clean sweep for the Cavaliers.
That's where I'm at. I'm with Cavaliers made a big move in acquiring James Harden, and put him together with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. And those guys already have last year. What was it? Last year they were the number one seed. Had the best record, I believe, or maybe it was second best, something like that. But they were already a good team as it is. You put James Harden on that team. I think they're gonna handle their business in this series. I think it's going to be a sweep myself, and then they get ready for who's next after that. But too many weapons there for the Cavaliers, for the Raptors to overcome.
Yeah, like I said, in an episode might have been last week. But yeah, Raptors were very underdog team. You barely heard anything, if not anything, about them at all. I surely did not this season. But yeah, the Cavs got a great big man combo between Jared Allen and last year's Defensive Player of the Year and Evan Mobley, and then you traded for James Harden at the deadline. You already had Donovan Mitchell, and you got great depth. You got a sharpshooter, Max Strus, and your depth pieces are pretty good as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna be tough for the Raptors. Who knows? Maybe they come back and win. We'll see. But yeah, this is looking like a clean sweep for me. Moving on to the second series. The series as old as time. We've had it probably the past 4 years. It's Ant-Man versus the Joker. Great game one. Nuggets took game one, 116, 105. Jokic triple-double. Jamal Murray, 30 bomb. I mean, they've just been phenomenal. However, game two was a different story. Timberwolves took game two to tie the series 1-1 heading to Minnesota. I said it before, I said it again. It's going game seven. I did pick the Timberwolves to start. However, Anthony Edwards, at the age of 24, it looks like he's got runner's knee, the same injury Steph Curry has been dealing with. It's a cause for concern. I'm hoping he's gonna be okay, because I still think the Timberwolves will beat the Nuggets. Okay, I almost said I think they're the better team. I don't think they're the better team, but I think when it comes to that matchup, I think the Timberwolves will take the Nuggets in 7 games. But yeah, it's a back and forth series. But yeah, I still got the Timberwolves going in game 7.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I'm different here. I do think it's 7 games too. These guys have been battling out for the last few years. If Edwards can't go, then I think it's a no brainer. Nuggets. I mean, they have. After that, you go to Rudy Gobert. You go to Julius Randle, and I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name.
Jaden McDaniels.
Yes, I think that would be difficult to overcome. 3-time MVP, Jokic, Murray, Aaron Gordon. Those guys have just been playing phenomenal. Down the stretch especially. They won 12 games in a row. They were hot going into the playoffs. Jokic is doing his triple-double thing that he always does, averaged triple-double this year. I think in the end, I think 7 games, but I'm taking the Nuggets on that one. And right now, 1-1. And the Timberwolves last night, they stole that game from the Nuggets because they were winning. It was a battle. They were going back and forth, but eventually the Timberwolves, came up on top.
Speaking of stealing games, we go into the Knicks and the Hawks. Knicks, they won game 1, 113-102 against the Hawks. But the Hawks stole game 2 from the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks were up 14 points at one point in this game. Hawks trailed back. See, they had CJ McCollum scored 32 points. Never thought I'd hear myself say that this year in a playoff game. I'm not dissing CJ McCollum. He's been a great player his whole career, but not like that. That type of guy. But yeah, no, the Hawks steal a game from the Knicks. And, Jonathan Kuminga, we talked about him for some time. He had a great game himself. He had 19 points. Jalen Brunson was great, 29 points. And this is the problem with why the Knicks I think, are not winning the title and have not been as good as a team as they should be. They're inconsistent. Mikal Bridges, 37 minutes, 10 points. Karl-Anthony Towns, 34 minutes, 18 points. And then people off your bench, your highest scorer off your bench was Mitchell Robinson at 13 points. I mean, that's why you're losing games. You're inconsistent. And I know no one's perfect. You're not gonna average your average, but I mean, they traded a lot for Mikal Bridges, and every year it seems like in the playoffs he just doesn't show up for them. Just
What was it? 5 first rounds or something like that.
it was like I think it was 4. It was a lot.
It was something crazy. Even 4 sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, it just seems like this past couple of years he just hasn't shown up to play.
You're waiting for that, return on that investment there of all those first rounders. And I'm watching that game, and yeah, you like you said, the Knicks were up 14, and I was waiting for them just to put stomp them on the neck and put the game away. It did not come. It never came. It didn't come from Bridges. Brunson had some key turnovers down the stretch that Hawks just took advantage of. Whether it was Jalen Johnson, CJ McCollum was on fire, and of course, our good old friend Kuminga, he showed up and gave them that boost of energy with 19 and this is going to be a good series. I don't think it's going to be as clear as Knicks win. I think it goes a distance of 7 games, and ultimately I think the Knicks have enough to pull it out because they're more of a veteran team. Jose Alvarado and Josh Hart and those kind of guys who are going to just will them to win, and the Hawks are still this young team. We know Kuminga's young and all the other guys, Jalen Johnson. CJ McCollum's not young, but I mean, like we said,
he's like the one guy with experience.
Is he going to have that kind of output
again?
We'll have to see. There's that consistency talk again, so we'll see how the series goes. But yeah, I think the Knicks end up taking this series.
Yeah, I still got the Knicks in 6, but it's only gonna get hard for them as the playoffs go. But moving on to Game 1 of the Rockets Lakers. Their Game 2 is happening tonight, so we won't go over game. We can't talk about Game 2 of their series. But KD injured his knee in practice. He did not play Game 1. More news though about Austin Reeves and Luka. Luka is not playing round 1 whatsoever. JJ Redick shut it down. They said Austin Reeves is more along his rehab process than Luka is. Don't know if he will play in round 1. Obviously they hope that he is, but Lakers take Game 1, and that's a huge letdown for the Rockets because yes, you're missing KD, a future Hall of Famer, but even then they should have beaten the Lakers. I mean, Amin Thompson 17 points, Jabari Smith 16 points, but Alfred Sengun only having 19. I know you'd think, oh, he had 19 points, that's a lot, but in a game where the centers of the Lakers is DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes, Sengun should add probably 25 plus. Even Reed Shepard, Torrey Eason, they were great off the bench, but I just feel I feel like the Rockets threw a game away, a game that they should have won. I mean, they let Luke Kennard score 27. In a physical team, and as great as defense the Rockets is, they let Luke Kennard. I know he's a sharpshooter, but they let him have 27 points. I mean, that's just. I think they blew the game away.
That's what I was going to say is for the Rockets to win this series, they're going to have to get back to their aggressive defensive behavior that they showed so many times, and that's just really going to shock the Lakers because once they're back and KD has to be in there too for them to get past the Lakers. I mean, whenever you're talking about greatest of all time players, LeBron minus Luka minus Austin Reeves, he's still going to do his thing, and lucky for him, Kennard was making the shots that night. But he's taken teams on his shoulders before. I know these shoulders are older, kind of like mine now, but I think these guys, he's a champion. These guys, they want to win, and this has been his profession for a couple decades now. So I wouldn't rule the Lakers out at all, but I do think if the Rockets end up get KD back, start playing that defense that the Rockets are known to be playing, and I take the Rockets in 6.
Yeah, I like that. I said at first it's gonna be a clean sweep, but with this KD injury news, this is probably gonna go 6 games. But I still got the Rockets Rockets going on. But moving on to our 76ers versus Celtics. I thought this would be a 4-0 sweep, especially after seeing Game 1. Celtics dominated the 76ers, 123-91. However, that wasn't the same story in Game 2. Game 2, 76ers won 111-97, and they were led by their young guards, Tyrese Maxey, 29 points, and their rookie, VJ Edgecombe, at 30 points off the bench. I mean, that was just sure. Maybe actually, no, I don't know how to come off the bench. No, he didn't come off the bench. He started. That's for sure. I forgot Embiid's not playing. He's out with injury. But yeah, no, the Sixers, they take Game 2. Tatum only at 19, Jaylen Brown at 36, but no one else in that starting lineup showed up for the Celtics. And this series could get a lot more interesting than people are probably thinking. The Sixers team, obviously known for Joel Embiid, but he's out. I can't remember. I think it's with the knee injury. I can't remember how long he's out for. But yeah, I mean, if obviously Paul George didn't play all that great, but if VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey want to lead the way, 76ers could push this series farther than the Celtics were expecting. But I still think the Celtics pull out within probably 6 games. But the 76ers could upset. Anything's possible. But
yeah,
rookie for the Sixers.
I have the Celtics in 6 too. I think today, once you had Paul George had 19, Maxey, like you said, 29, Hitchcomb had, efficient game himself, and once you get those 3 guys, if they could play like that, in addition with Embiid in the middle, then we have something going on. But if Embiid's not going to play, I don't expect those guys to shoot like that every single game. Brown and Tatum, they're going to do their thing. They're going to bring it every single game, I feel like, and I think they end up winning this series. And I'll take Celtics in 6.
Yeah, me too. Moving on to the Suns and Thunder, and boy, am I glad the Warriors lost the play-in. Thunder just dominated, 119-84 in Game 1. There was no Game 2. They play tomorrow. So won't update you on that, but
yeah. Here's the thing about that. So they played the Warriors, right? Suns played the Warriors, and they had 3 guys. They had Goodwin, I believe his name was, Royce O'Neal, and even the center, Iguodala or something like that. I can't pronounce his name. Almost sounds like Iguodala. And those guys had 40 points that game against the Warriors. And it was just, in addition to Jalen Green monster, his monster, Jalen Green. Jalen Green. His monster game that he had. I mean, they had 40 points. In this first game against OKC, they only had 6. So it's kind of like, and Jalen Green had like under 20. So that was what I was expecting against the Warriors, was like, who are these guys? The guy with the mask nailing every single shot. Like, I'm like, that was more upsetting than anything, because I felt if the Warriors could sneak in there, play OKC, they got that championship pedigree. Draymond Green could punch one of the guys, Harstein or whoever, in the sack, and then we still have Curry. Curry will have his flurry, and we'll make the OKC earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now the Suns are in there, and now we're seeing these are the guys who you think are going to beat OKC, the Royce O'Neals and the Goodwins of the world. The Dylan Brooks. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I know they got past the Warriors, but this is a clean sweep for me. OKC is going to move on to the next round and pretty easily. I'm going to say, what do they win by? Over 30?
Yeah, no, I think this is clean sweep as well. Devin Booker's a great player, but he's not no Steph Curry that could take his team. And like you said, the Warriors would have gave the Thunder a run for their money. Don't know if they would have won, but they definitely would have gave them a run. I mean, there's a game earlier this year without Curry, without Jimmy, all the backup G League Warriors. They took the Thunder all the way down to like the final couple minutes. Yeah, it's a clean sweep for me. Not much more to talk about, but yeah. Moving on to the Pistons and the Magic. Speaking of the Pistons, also speaking of the Lakers, Luka eligible for MVP. However, he was not a top 3 finalist. Same thing with Cade Cunningham. He appealed, is now eligible for MVP, but he was not a top 3 candidate. But Pistons Magic, obviously Pistons number 1 seed going against the 8 seed. Magic took Game 1. They upset the Pistons in Game 1. I think just stunned the Pistons. I think their Game 2 is tomorrow, so hopefully they're looking to win Game 2 to even the series. But yeah, I mean, Magic, like I said, they got a little more experience in this Pistons team. I think this Pistons team just was just expecting to win game one. Obviously, they're gonna adapt, make some changes, and you know, win the series. I still got the Pistons winning. They were the one seed for a reason. This will probably go 6 games, and I'm gonna take the Pistons in 6 games.
Hey man, are we comparing notes here or what? I have them in 6 games too. I have the Pistons. I just think what a monster game by Cade Cunningham, 39 points. What a performance there. But yeah, he's gonna need some help. His I think it was an All-Star, Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
Only had 8 points there, and that needs to change, especially against this Orlando team. They do got to do a team though. Orlando, Banchero, Wagner, Desmond Bane. Let's not forget him. That guy has some playoff experience. So it looks like he had all those guys were clicking. They're all in double digits. Banchero 23, Wagner 19, Desmond Bane, Jalen Suggs 17 and 16. So ultimately that ended up being the difference there for them to get that first win. But I do think that Pistons turned it around and put Orlando in their place.
Yeah, I think the Pistons a little bounce back and come back and win the series. But our last series, Trailblazers Spurs, Wembanyama, first unanimous defensive player of the year. I talked about it with my other uncle. We didn't see anyone else win to deserve it. No one else even got a first place vote. So Wemby, and he showed why. He had a block. He had a steal. Oh no, wrong guy. Oops. Wemby though, he had 35 points in his playoff debut. He had 2 blocks. He was just they dominated. They won 111-98. However, today, Wembanyama exited the game with concussion protocol. He only played 12 minutes, and it just popped up. And the Trailblazers came back, and they won 106-103.
That's why they came back.
Yeah, but not that they came back. They weren't down much, but the Spurs were winning out late in this game. But yeah, no, the series is tied 1-1. Screw Henderson for the Trailblazers, 31 points. The former 3rd overall pick was looking like a bust. Not today. He showed up. As for the Spurs, like I said, Wemby played 12 minutes. He had 5 points. Devin Vassell only 16. Darren Fox only 17. Stephon Castle 18. Dylan Harper 10. They're going to need to step up because this Blazers team is not going to go down without a fight. They've got some young studs. They got some good players. And we don't know much about how long if Wemby's going to be out. But if he is out, this series gets really interesting because without Wemby, the Spurs are still a good team. But Wembanyama just is that big of a difference maker. I still think the Spurs will win, but this series could have gone from probably maybe a clean sweep to we're going 6, possibly 7 games.
I tell you, I wrote this before this guy got hurt with Banana. I wrote sweep. I take Spurs in the sweep, and then all of a sudden I see it just finished. It just went final, a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
Portland, they pulled it out. Well, when Banana went out after half or whatever it was, and Scoot Henderson sighting, and he had a career game today, and this could get interesting if he doesn't come back. I'm sure it's just all protocol stuff, and he's gonna be back and playing for the Spurs, and now that I have to change it from a sweep, maybe I have to go Spurs in 6, depending on availability. So, but yeah, because I still think the Spurs have enough. De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, Stephen. Harrison Barnes is still on that team. Looks like he's not playing much. He only got about 15 minutes, but yeah, who knows? I mean, that could change. Champagne, that name rings a bell. I think he was a Warrior killer one or 2 games this year, but yeah, Portland pulled it out. Good for them. They need that.
Yeah. So,
but that is our update. I was going to say real quick. Do you know the new owners of the Portland Trailblazers? Did you hear about anything?
The no shirts. Yeah.
No shirts. No shirts. They said they're cutting. The new owners want to cut costs, even though they just paid over $4 billion or something like that for the team. So now they're talking about cutting costs, and they're not giving the fans any shirts, which they're pissed, as you can imagine. And I go,
who knows? Maybe he's just saying that. Boom, there's gonna be shirts, but that's
look
tough.
behind
that's
me.
Tough.
There's a strength in numbers 2015 right man. I got a We Believe 2007. We want those shirts. But
Yes.
those are it's memories. It's like I think it's been what 5-6 years since the Trailblazers been to the playoffs. It's kind of a big deal. So especially after the year they were having, their coach gets he's in part of an investigation for gambling. They
Almost forgot
fire him.
about that.
You
Yeah.
got an interim coach here that takes them all away, and they go to the play-in, and and then you have this superstar right before our eyes, Denny Avia, kind of like leading the team. You got champion Drew Holiday there, so there's a lot of positive things there. So hopefully they get some shirts on their chairs when they show up whenever the next game is in Portland.
Yeah, hopefully they do, but as of right now, they don't. But yeah, so we talked about defensive player of the year was Wembanyama, unanimous, right? Deserved. Rudy Gobert said he felt. Well, I don't know if he felt he said it, but if he felt he deserved it, he said yeah. But I mean, honestly, I don't feel like Rudy Gobert deserved those 4 defensive player of the years. Yeah, he blocked a lot of people, but when I think of defense, I think of a guy who could guard every position, 1 to 5. Only a few guys can do that. Wemby can do it. I've seen him do it before. Draymond does it. I felt, Gobert shouldn't have 4 defensive player of the years if you just go off stats. I mean, yeah, he's known for his defense. He is the difference maker when it comes to defense. But I don't feel like he should have won 4. But yeah, Wemby, he's gonna be winning quite a few. He's gonna win a lot.
Yeah, that guy, he's whatever that alien freak of nature, whatever they're calling him, that's a generational talent. Yeah, he's that guy, and we've already seen it when he's not playing. The Spurs are a totally different team, young, inexperienced. With him, still young, but a lot of just confident. He has a lot of confidence in himself, and he takes pride in his work, and defensive player is first off his list of his goals that he has, and he wants to get MVP. He wants to and he talks like it too, like he wants to do this, he wants to do that, he wants a championship, he wants he's a big part of what the Spurs are doing there, obviously, and the Spurs weren't in the playoff. As soon as they drafted him, he said, "Oh, well, that's going to change. We're in a playoff drought. Well, that's going to change because I'm here." So, yeah, I like him. He's a great player. I mean, he just pulls up from 3, and this guy's like 7 something. It's pretty amazing to watch. As for MVP, though, we'll see. I think there's a couple of arguments on there, isn't there?
Yeah, no. The top 3 was Wemby, Jokic, and SGA, and I think it's got to be Wemby. I think the year they've had, he deserves it, but we'll see when they announce it. But moving on to baseball, weekly standings update. I'm trying to run it down. Yankees, they lead the AL East. They're 14-9, but they're followed by the Rays, who are 12-11. They've been a surprise so far. In the AL Central, the Guardians lead at 14-11. Tigers and Twins both have 12 wins, and almost at Oakland. The Las Vegas A's are first place in the AL West. They're tied with the Rangers.
Does it say that? Does it say Las Vegas A's now?
That might be. But moving to the National League East, the Braves 16-8, one of the better teams in baseball. Reds 16-8, they're one of the better teams in baseball. They're followed by the Cubs and the Cardinals, who are 14 wins. That National League Central, it's a close division so far. And then the NL West, Dodgers 16-6, Padres are 15-7. And the Padres are currently winning, so they might be 16-7 after this game. But news. Where am I at? Where did I go? Zach Wheeler, he should be joining the Phillies rotation soon. Snell's beginning rehab assignments. So some starting pitchers starting to come back. Almost forgot to mention the Mets. They've lost 12 straight. They are tied for the worst record in the league. So that's just surprising. But I want to talk about Mason Miller. He's been perfect thus far. This year, he's 8 for 8 on saves. He's gone 11 innings, struck out. I mean, who hasn't he struck out? But since the Padres acquired him, I mean, he's at a current 32 2/3 scoreless innings. And as of right now, the Padres are up 1-0. It looks like he's going to come in the 9th inning if that score stays. But he's just been phenomenal. He's been more than phenomenal. He's been just shut down. When he comes in the game, it's basically over. And who knows? It's brought up some talk of, hey, Can he win the Cy Young? I know we all know Emmanuel Clase had a great year in 2024. He had like a .7 ERA, he led it in saves, and he was third in Cy Young. And even Aroldis Chapman last year, he was phenomenal as well. I don't know where he ended up in Cy Young, but the winning reliever of the years. But Mason Miller, if he could continue just being dominant, I mean, his strikeout percentage is 71% as of right now. I mean, who knows? He might be there come September and October when they do the awards. He might be top three in Cy Young, and it could be the first time since Eric Gagne in 2002.
Were you
Sometime in
alive when that happened? 2000,
I was not.
Eric Gagne. Were you alive?
I was not. I was not alive.
Yeah,
That's
the
how long it's been.
A's also had a guy, Dennis Eckersley. He was just lights out money. Once he got in there, it was a victory. So there's a couple of recent guys. So that's 1992. As far as a relief pitcher winning the Cy Young. So yeah, I mean it can happen. It looks like Eric Gagne. I'm just going off of this AI overview here, saying he saved 55 games with a 1.20 ERA. So not too shabby there. So I think you consistency, do it throughout the year, and yeah, maybe Miller has something there.
Yeah, but to end this off in the MLB, Craig Counsell thinks the Major League Baseball rule that allows the Dodgers to carry 14 pitchers because of Shohei Ohtani is bizarre. So normally, teams, they have 26 active man rosters from opening day through August 31st. They have 13 pitchers and the rest are and 13 fielders or hitters. And then so come September 1st, they get an extra pitcher and an extra player. Since Ohtani is designated as two-way, they get to hold an extra pitcher, so they get to have 14 pitchers on their active roster. And obviously it brings up controversy, right? Because it's not like he pitches, but it's like why do they get an extra pitcher? It gets them an extra bullpen help. And Craig Counsell said it's basically special consideration. He said it's probably the most bizarre rule for one team. So I don't know. It is a little fishy. When Shohei came to the league, they came up with the new the new DH rule. Well, if your pitcher pitches, they could stay in as DH. And that allows him to pitch and hit. But yeah, obviously, teams are not fan of
So that's only
of
for the
that rule.
Dodgers. Not everybody else.
Yes, because he's considered two-way, they give him an extra pitcher. So obviously teams aren't be fond of it.
That's what the Dodgers need is an advantage.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of whatever. Edwin Diaz, he might be out for a couple of months. He had a right arm injury. So he's out. One of their big signings of the offseason. He's out. Tucker hasn't really performed that well, but they're still the Dodgers. They still got guys coming back from the IL. Blake Snell, 2-time Cy Young winner. He's going to be coming back soon. So yeah, it's tough. But yeah, Greg Counsell. I mean, obviously, NL West, the team, not NL West, team in the NL is obviously gonna complain about it. But yeah, it's Shohei Ohtani, so the league's gonna do what they want with him.
Whatever he wants.
But yeah, and as for Formula One, race won't be till May 3rd in Miami. However, a lot of news about drivers and tax problems is coming up, so we'll keep updating on that. But that is all that we have for today. Thank you all for tuning in. One last time, I'd like to thank my co-host, my uncle. Happy 50th birthday. Don't forget, we're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Spotify. Episodes every Wednesday. And then we get posts out. We'll sometimes get, post-game reactions out. One last time, thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, stay ready.